To an American, there are a few rides as classic as the Tilt-A-Whirl. This fairground and amusement park classic has defined American summers for nearly 100 years. The ride has had an immeasurable impact on the modern amusement ride industry, but its history traces back to the small town of Faribault, Minnesota. In 1887, Herbert Sellner was born into a family of cabinet makers. For those of you familiar with the history of the carousel, this is a very similar start to another legend in the industry from the time, the creator of the modern carousel, Gustav Denzel. Like Denzel, Herbert Sellner had originally focused on expanding his family business, spending the 1910s creating wood products like tables, lamps, and cabinets. The Roaring Twenties saw Sellner realize the potential of the leisure market. He would step into this industry by producing an early predecessor to the modern water slide, as well as a water swing in 1923. This was at a time when there were really not any big rides outside of carousels, especially in this part of the United States. Sellner's creativity would be shown once again with the introduction of the Tilt-A-Whirl in 1926. This ride would be featured at the Minnesota State Fair, still a well-known fair for ride innovation today. The Tilt-A-Whirl became an instant hit. After the fair, Sellner saw orders for Tilt-A-Whirls pour in from all over the world. Sellner was still a very small company at this time, and so the first 17 rides were built out of Herbert Sellner's own house. By 1927, he had purchased a factory so he could keep up with demand. The first revision of the ride came in 1928. At this time, the ride was reintroduced with two models, the 936 and the 728. The two rides differed mostly by their size. The 936 featured 9 cars with 4 riders each for a capacity of 36 riders per cycle. The 728, as you may have guessed, had 7 cars holding 28 riders per cycle. The 9-car version was the most popular version prior to the start of World War II, but in the following years the 7-seat version became much more popular. So much so that Sellner stopped producing the 9-car version at some point. The 1928 Revision 1 Tilt-A-Whirl featured some innovative features for the time in both model versions. These included the need for 3 operators, one being the clutch operator, and the others being the ticket taker and the ticket seller. This allowed for maximum capacity, and Sellner advertised that the ride could earn as much as $162 per hour, or about $3,000 per hour today. The ride featured a gasoline engine, a collapsible ticket building, and a Tilt-A-Whirl sign with 28 electric lights. The original Revision 1 Tilt-A-Whirls did not feature any kind of electric control system. Instead, an operator would manually engage and disengage a gasoline engine when the ride needed to be started or stopped. The design of the modern Tilt-A-Whirl is slightly different. The Generation 5 Tilt-A-Whirl was produced by Sellner in the late 1990s and featured several upgrades that are still seen on rides produced today. These include a fully automated electrical control system, fiberglass cars instead of steel or wood, the option for more open cars like those found on a waltzer, and more bright color options. The modern Tilt-A-Whirl also features a brake on each rider car, allowing for easier loading and unloading. A modern Tilt-A-Whirl features 7 cars that can hold about 4 riders. These cars feature a non-locking lap bar that's mostly there for riders to hold onto. Some versions of the ride feature a seatbelt that locks this bar in place. The rider cars are situated on an articulating disc along a circular track with several undulating hills. Each car is pivoted in the front, meaning that the weight of the cars is intentionally off-axis. Once all riders are loaded and the ride started, the entire disc begins to rotate clockwise. At this time, the brakes on the rider cars also unlock. The centripetal force of the spinning, combined with the car falling down the hills, results in an unpredictable spinning that can be quite extreme. Riders can increase their spinning by leaning to one side. Once the ride is over and has slowed down, the brakes will be activated and riders can freely exit. Many Tilt-A-Whirls built before the late 1990s feature fully manual controls, with operators using one lever for the motion and one for the brakes. Sellner would unfortunately go bankrupt in the early 2010s and would end up being absorbed into Larson, now Larson RMC. Larson has made a few modifications such as giving the ride a locking lap bar and reducing the maximum number of riders from 4 to 3, though they have made some positive changes like slightly shrinking the ride's footprint and giving it the option for fully customizable and themable ride cars. Of course, no discussion of a Tilt-A-Whirl can be complete without at least mentioning the waltzer. The waltzer was introduced in 1920 in the UK a full 6 years before the Tilt-A-Whirl. However, the two rides were thought up completely independently, with no contact between them. The design was simply so good that it was invented twice on different sides of the world. The Waltzer has already received its own video, and I recommend watching that if you'd like to learn more. The two rides have existed on different continents for the last 100 years, and have taken several design ideas from each other. For example, the modern Tilt-A-Whirl car offered by Larson is very similar to those found on most Waltzers. There are a few differences between the two rides though. The Waltzer is generally more seen as an experience than as a ride, and often features a dedicated operator on the ride's platform to spin rider cars, along with music and flashing lights, whereas the Tilt-A-Whirl is seen more as a standalone ride and usually features slightly steeper hills than some Waltzers. All in all, over 1,000 Tilt-A-Whirls have been built, and some are still being built today. Many examples from the Tilt-A-Whirl golden age between the 1940s and 70s still operate, with many of them still traveling. According to some sources, the American showman Tom Evans travels with a modified 1927 Tilt-A-Whirl, though I've not been able to verify this. If this is true, it is one of the oldest traveling rides to still travel, especially in the US. The Tilt-A-Whirl has aged remarkably well, as around 600 examples are still in operation today. The ride remains very practical and popular. Tilt-A-Whirls can travel on just one trailer, and used ones can be picked up for under $30,000. This makes them a great option for small showmen even today. In contrast, brand new Larson models cost around $300,000. If you have a local Tilt-A-Whirl, be sure to give it a ride this summer and show it some appreciation. The rides have defined the amusement industry for nearly 100 years, and they continue to be a hit. As always, if I missed something or got something incorrect, feel free to correct me in the comments below. To see the remaining episodes of Flat Ride Friday Season 2 without having to wait, consider becoming a channel member. If not, no pressure though, as the next episode will be out next week. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.